What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rockets Daily, episode 96 to be exact. Can you believe we're here? Going to hit episode 100 this week. Thanks for all the subscribers and for all the potential subscribers. Everybody watching for the first time, whether this is your 96th time with us or your first time, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. We're going to be talking about Rockets 115-111 loss to the Detroit Pistons on Friday night. My name is David Delano. You can also follow me on X at Get Sports Strong. I'm going to get right into this. Little bit of a plug. I'll be on Sports Grid TV on Saturday night, October 25th, about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll also be on there about 6:40 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, talking some NFL football. World Series was last night. I went to a high school football game, looked at this Rockets game, so I'm into all the sports coverage and things like that. We're talking about the Rockets here, but you can check out those other things as well. We're talking NFL on Sports Grid TV. Man, a lot of scoring in the NBA so far. You've seen overs go for those on those things. Over unders, the totals have gone 43 and 13, 43, 13 and 2 to the overs so far, with a lot of points in the NBA. With that being said, let's talk about this 115-111 loss to the Detroit Pistons and some of my initial reactions about it. Obviously, I thought that the Rockets would win this game. I did yesterday's episode. I thought that the Rockets not only would win, I thought they would cover the 6-point spread as well. And obviously, that did not happen. A bit of a ugly game. NBA, so many different runs. Did look like a stretch late there in the third quarter, like the Rockets might finally be able to pull away, but could not do that against a scrappy Detroit Pistons team that was very underwhelming in the opener against the Chicago Bulls. In that game, they were the team that got off to a really slow start. They just could not quite muster the energy to complete a comeback in their loss to the Chicago Bulls, but came out, played well against the Rockets. We saw really a little frustrating things with this loss here. Jalen Duren, got ejected for that flagrant foul on Amin Thompson. Only played 12 minutes in the game. Pistons were shorthanded. Rockets could not really take advantage. Could not take advantage of that overall. Shooting was poor overall. Overall for the Rockets. Shot better from 3-point range. Did not chuck up a ton of threes, 10 for 22. Obviously, doesn't look like we're going to be the most high-volume shooting 3-point team in the league, so 45.5% from 3-point range. On the surface, yes, that is very good. Problem is on twos, just 36% on 2-point field goals for the game. Overall, did not get a strong game out of Şengün, and we're not going to bash him. It's funny. I'm not going to overreact, but we got to keep it real. Throughout the offseason, Şengün was balling in the Eurobasket, was balling against Oklahoma City. I did my top 10 Rockets of all time. A lot of guys, and I mentioned, young, body of work. I had him number 7, had him right behind Dwight Howard, and I said, well, obviously it's almost irrelevant because I expect Şengün to pass Dwight Howard after this year. We're talking about just things that they've done with the Rockets. Anyway, point being, yesterday was not the strongest performance by Şengün. There's going to obviously be those ups and downs. Just 5 for 18 from the floor, missed both threes. Did have 17 points, but overall not a great game. I'm even at that attacking the basket at the end there. Big possession in the final minute. Kevin Durant gave the ball to Şengün, and obviously we're watching it on TV after the fact, but it looks like he got a little too driving to the basket. Should have pulled up in the paint, shot that floater, try to take it all the way to the hole. got his shot blocked. And I guess the biggest thing with Shangoon, just to, like I said, just to keep it real, was frustrating. Just a lot of the frustration. He was visibly frustrated. A lot of the complaining to the referees. And I get it. He's competing at the highest level, but you don't really want to see that. It seemed like it really affected him. The frustration and all that. And I love that he plays with so much passion. There's gonna be times where we just love the fact that he, wears his heart on his sleeve. But a lot of times those things that people love, in the down moments, they can obviously they don't look so good. So that was a not a strong performance there overall. The ball movement was not great. I mean, that's part of, even with the 10 for 22 from three. Yes, it's a great percentage, but probably some opportunities to get some more strong 3-pointers, get some good 3-point looks there. I mean, Kevin Durant 3 for 3 from three. 9 for 18 from the floor, just 28 minutes, but 37 points. 37 points in 28 minutes from Kevin Durant. And we talk about the Rockets having a complete team. And Kevin Durant, not going to force his way to take over. Obviously, you can't just expect Kevin Durant to play 40 plus minutes each night and be Superman. But yesterday was one of those spots, where the supporting cast just could not get it done. But let's talk about some of the bright spots in this game as well with this Rockets loss. So a couple things. Steven Adams, I thought, played very, very well. I almost would have liked to have seen Steven Adams get a few more minutes. I mean, 25 minutes, though. I guess that's what, respecting out of Steven Adams, 4 for 4 from the floor, had 11 points, 10 rebounds. Also, had a nice, strong performance off of Clint Capella just in 4 minutes, but Clint Capella played well off of the bench in the 4 minutes that he did play. Josh Okogie also played well in the 17 minutes that he was on the floor, 3 for 4 from the floor with 10 points and 4 rebounds. And the team had a positive, had a +4 when he was on the court. As far as guys who did have a positive plus minus, for what it's worth, you had Kogi there with a +4. You had Clint Capella with a +8 in just the 4 minutes of work, and did have Shangoon with the +3, even though it was not the strongest. Was not the strongest performance for him. Now, as far as some of the negatives when we're looking at, and hate to be a broken record on here, but it really is a big deal. That's probably why we talk about it all the time. We've been talking about it all off season, and we're going to continue to talk about it probably almost every episode. The backcourt depth. We talked about all the different point guards out there. And, Fred VanVleet injury right now, only 2 games into the season. But it's definitely been substantial as far as impacting this team. And it's only 2 games. You have to play through things. But Reed Shepherd right now, just after the 2 games, if you're talking about a championship, you're talking about a deep Western Conference run, Reed Shepherd as your backup point guard, who's not really a true point guard. I think there's a place for Reed. I think that Reed's gonna have a solid career, but it just depends how patient you're gonna be with him. Not there right now. Not where the Rockets need him to be. If you're talking about being a championship team, I mean Reed for the game. I mean, he did shoot 3 for 4 from 3-point range, which is great, but 0 for 7 on twos. Not able to really finish at the basket, in traffic at a high clip. That's going to be strong enough. Not really. Does have quick hands. Does get those steals, but still he had 3 turnovers, 1 assist, and also On the defensive end, I definitely saw some lapses times. He, kind of closed out, got too close to guys, and they just went right by him. Particularly, Duncan Robinson was coming off of a very, very poor performance in the opener for the Detroit Pistons, and he led all players on both teams with a plus minus of plus 15, had 17 points. Went by, Reed there a couple times. So defensively, right now, and just overall, the backcourt, it is an issue. Looking at Reed Shepard just after 2 games, I'd say they can improve, but you got some really sharp Rockets fans here, so you guys know what I mean, and just as well as I do. And it's one of those things. I mean, it's only 2 games into the season, but J.D. Davidson, Aaron Holiday, not really guys that are projected or were expected to be big parts of the rotation. Neither of them seen the floor yet, and I know it's only 2 games into the season, but when you look at all the time that's left, we're gonna need something from another point guard at some point. So we're gonna have to see what J.D. Davidson can do. Aaron Holiday, and it should be a perfect spot coming up in the future. But overall, just point guard, getting everybody involved. Rockets as a team, 15 assists, had 26 assists for the Detroit Pistons overall, and also just for the game. I mean, the Pistons they just got it done. Sar Thompson. It was interesting. It's on the liner seeing him and Jabari Smith Jr., which was really nothing. I mean, it was that chasing after the ball. Jabari Smith, Sar's basically pushing, shoving Jabari a little bit, and Jabari turns around and basically just knew somebody was pushing him there. Just basically just knew there was a Pistons player. He shoved him. See, it's Hamon's brother. Just kind of an interesting thing to play out. You don't really want it. Not it's lighthearted. It's all in the flow of competition, but obviously you don't want to see any scuffle break out there. So a lot of people talking about what would happen in that situation. As far as with Amon Thompson, whose back is he gonna have in that one? Probably his twin brother. Speaking about Jabari Smith, and I'm not, like I said, to the point of. I mean, Jabari Smith Jr. just got the extension, 22 years old. Future is definitely bright. Only 2 games into this season, so I'm still a believer in Jabari Smith Jr., but not a strong game yesterday. 3 for 14 played in the team high, 40 minutes. 11 points, committed 4 fouls, 3 for 9 from three. But more things are on the way. I think that the Rockets are in a situation where really 0-2 to start the season, should win 4 out of the next 5 games. I don't think we're going to put together a 5-game winning streak here, but I definitely need to go ahead and win the next game on Monday at the Toyota Center, going up against the Brooklyn Nets, the 0-2 Brooklyn Nets. They're all NBA teams. Obviously, anything can happen on any given day, but this is a team that the Rockets need to beat. The Nets opened up the season with a 136-117 loss to the Charlotte Hornets, and then they had their home opener where they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers 131-127. So now, even though, a team like Cleveland, he said the Nets, they only lost by 7 points. NBA is definitely an interesting thing when you look at how games played out. Cleveland was beating the Nets by 22 points heading into the fourth quarter. So Nets made that score a little bit closer, covered the spread, but Cleveland was in control for most of that game. Brooklyn Nets, as far as what's coming in on that side, you had Cam Thomas, who had 33 points for the Brooklyn Nets in the loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Michael Porter Jr., who had 31 points. They're going to be coming into Houston on Monday. Also had Zaire Williams, who had 25 points for the Brooklyn Nets overall. So Brooklyn Nets are going to be coming in on Monday. Rockets, great spot to get their first win of the season. You cannot overlook anyone, of course, as we know this, but 0-3 right, so 0-2 right now. Two 0-2 teams that are going to be looking to avoid falling to 0-3. And the Rockets have to be that team that's going to avoid going 0-3. After that, just jumping forward a little bit, you then travel on the road to take on the Toronto Raptors on Wednesday. That's another game that I think that the Rockets need to take. Now, it's not going to be easy against the Raptors in Toronto. Raptors are 1-1 to start the 1-1 to start the season. They did, however, beat the Atlanta Hawks convincingly. Beat the Atlanta Hawks to start the season by 20 points on the road. Lost a 122-116 game to the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday night. So that's going to be, that game is going to be in Toronto. Another game that the Rockets should win, but like I said, you cannot take anything for granted. And the Celtics on Saturday, and we'll get into more of these things. Celtics 0-2, but going to Boston. Return game for Udoka, not gonna be easy. And then we got jumping ahead to next Monday, when the Dallas Mavericks, who are struggling, come into town, and then taking a trip to Memphis before we get into the NBA Cup against the San Antonio Spurs. So just the game at Toronto, the game at Boston, game at Memphis. Obviously, all winnable games. The Rockets should be favored in, but I don't think the Rockets are gonna win all five. I'm thinking 4-1 after these next 5 games, and then we'll see what happens going into the NBA Cup. So those are some of my initial reactions. Obviously, like to see some, better ball movement, point guard, backcourt. I mean, I could talk about it for another 20 minutes. I'll probably just save the breath to talk about it on Monday. But thanks so much for watching Rockets Daily. Let me know your initial reactions. Are you panicking already? Who sucks? Who are you mad at? Are you still feeling encouraged and all of that good? Any observations that you have, I definitely appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go ahead and subscribe. Once again, my name's David Delano. This has been Rockets Daily. Let's have a great day.